And joining us now to tell us more about these attacks and the devastation in the country is Inna Sovsun. She is a member of the Ukrainian parliament. Thank you for being here with us again tonight. So can you first update us on the latest with the rail station attack? Has that changed the calculus on the ground?
No, the recent number, as it was about 24 hours ago, is 52 people who have been killed. We're still learning about many people who have been very severely wounded because there were at least a couple of those who have lost their limbs, be it their hands or legs, but it seems that they survived. But 52 is the number, and today actually several planes traveling from that area, they were symbolically putting flowers on seats numbered 52 in memory of those 52 people who have been killed in that strike.
It's just more and more bad news by the day. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson visited Kyiv. Other European leaders announced the reopening of embassies there. Does that give you hope? Does that give you optimism?
Well, it does, in a way. I've actually come back from Western Ukraine today. I was visiting my son for a couple of days. And it seems like in a couple of days that I have been away from Kyiv, there are actually much more people here. It is much more lively compared to what it has been a week ago, even. And of course, that is because the Russian troops are not near the city anymore. But still, you have to realize, even when the Russian troops are not here near Kyiv, we're still getting air raid alerts. At least one over this night. We are 2 in the morning here today, so it can still be more. So air raid strikes are still a real possibility. But the very fact that different embassies are coming back, several have already come back, is of course extremely important for us, meaning that hopefully that makes Kyiv a safer area. But of course, that also means that is because the fight is moving to the east, and that is where the major threats are right now.
What do you make of Russia tapping a new general to oversee this invasion? This is the same person who oversaw operations in Syria. What does that tell you?
Well, I'll tell you this, a couple of people that I have been discussing this with, they were all saying, like, so should we get ready for more airstrikes in the city? Because that is, of course, what they did in Syria, and that is what we can expect them to be doing here again. But our greatest hope is that probably they have run out of some of their ammunition, so they wouldn't be able to do the same as they did in Syria. And also Ukraine did receive some air defense systems from the West. We're grateful for that. So we hope we should be able to, to fight back. But I think that decision in itself is the reflection upon how badly Russian army was doing in the first 45 days of the war. Well, we do hope that will not make them better coordinated, because frankly speaking, the fact that they were so badly coordinated was one of the factors behind Ukrainians being able to push them further from Kyiv and other regions. Of course, that does mean that they are trying to regroup, and they are not trying to stop, but trying to regroup and get, into the battles yet again.
And I know you're helping raise money for drones for special forces. Tell me about that. What can they do? Why are they important?
Yeah, those are the drones for the Special Forces unit that I have been helping a lot. If you are willing to, please go to my Twitter page, find the donate button, and please donate, because that is very important right now. Well, the drones are important because, again, that's what the Special Forces asked for. I'm not a military expert. I rely fully on their opinion. But the drones are important because they help us gain at least some part of control over the air. Of course, the Russians have much bigger fleet and all, but the drones have actually been extremely useful, and that is something that the Russian army doesn't have to that big extent. That is why our army is relying a lot on drones, and yeah, we are fundraising to buy those. So, thank you for anyone donating.
And I know men are fighting, including, I think, your boyfriend, but the women of Ukraine are also playing an important role in defending their country as well.
It is true. We actually have a quite large percentage of women in the army, which I've been active in women's rights issues is extremely proud of. We have about 18% of women in the army, and many of them are actually in the combat zones fighting directly. So it's not like they're just sitting somewhere in Kyiv while men are only fighting. We actually have women. I'm extremely proud to know some of those real fighters, snipers, drone operators and all of that. So they are also fighting. But even women who are not in the army, they're still very much involved. Again, I've been to the Western Ukraine for a couple of days. What I have seen, there are huge humanitarian operations that are functioning in every single city. In very, very small towns, in very small villages, women are gathering together to make food, and then they're sending that to the army, to the front every day. Like buses are traveling every day from the west to eastern Ukraine. And of course, that is largely operated by women because men are more involved in defense operations, of course.
And before I leave you, I just want to ask how your family is. I understand your father, who's 60, stayed in Kyiv. How is he doing?
My dad was traveling back and forth. He was in Kyiv region in their house, and then he was helping people evacuate. And today, when I was actually traveling from the Western Ukraine, my dad was not here the last 2 weeks, no, not in the area. So they were not sure what happened to their house because the major fights were taking place really close to their house. And I actually did see the broken windows at my parents' place, which is heartbroken. But I've also seen houses that have been burnt down. So I just keep on telling my mom that we are lucky that their house survived and they're fine. And I miss my son because now I have to choose whether I can be home and do my job here in Kyiv or I can be with my son. So I try to travel back and forth. But I'm, of course, most worried about my boyfriend who's on the east. And that's someone I'm thinking about constantly. Well, he's fine. He's safe. But,
we're all thinking of you. I'm glad he's safe. I know that I can't even imagine how difficult it must be to be doing your job and worried about your family and your country all at the same time and making time for us too. Thank you so much.
Thanks for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.